For decades, the search for extraterrestrial life has been the realm of scientists, dreamers, and conspiracy theorists. Our telescopes and radio arrays pointed towards the stars, hoping to catch a whisper of something beyond our world. What we imagined receiving were messages of advanced knowledge, culture, and perhaps even a glimpse into our future. What we never expected was that our first contact with an alien civilization would come in the form of their version of trash TV. The initial signal was detected by the Arecibo Observatory, a beacon of human curiosity nestled in the lush landscapes of Puerto Rico. At first, it was dismissed as background noise, just another anomaly among many. But as the data was scrutinized, a pattern emerged. What we discovered was a series of broadcasts from a distant planet, not dissimilar to our own reality television, filled with drama, conflict, and bizarre challenges. The transmissions were raw and unfiltered, providing a voyeuristic glimpse into the lives of these alien beings. As the world tuned in, the reaction was a mix of fascination, amusement, and ethical concern. Was it right to watch another civilization's most private moments? What did these broadcasts say about the aliens sending them? And what did our obsession with their entertainment say about us? These questions swirled as humanity grappled with the implications of this unprecedented form of contact. In Alien Static, Earth's Unexpected Reality Show, I recount my personal journey through this extraordinary event. As a researcher at SETI Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, I was among the first to realize the significance of the signal. Alongside my colleagues, I worked tirelessly to decode the transmissions and understand their origin. What unfolded was a story stranger than fiction, blending elements of comedy, tragedy, and profound revelation. The night we first intercepted the signal was like any other at the Arecibo Observatory. The air was thick with humidity, and the jungle surrounding the facility buzzed with the sounds of nocturnal life. I was hunched over my workstation, eyes glued to the computer screen, combing through the latest batch of data. It was a routine task, one that often yielded little more than static and interference. But that night, something was different. It started as a faint blip, almost imperceptible among the noise. My colleague, Dr. Alara Voss, was the first to notice it. "Hey, take a look at this," she said, her voice tinged with curiosity. I leaned over her shoulder, squinting at the waveforms dancing across her monitor. "What do you think it is?" I asked, my interest piqued. "Not sure yet," she replied, adjusting the frequency filters. "But it's definitely not random." We spent the next few hours analyzing the signal, isolating it from the background noise. The more we looked, the clearer it became. This was no ordinary interference. It was structured, patterned. Excitement built as we realized we might be on the brink of a significant discovery. By morning, the entire team was buzzing with anticipation. We had managed to decode a fragment of the transmission, revealing what appeared to be moving images. As the pixels aligned on the screen, we saw something that left us speechless. It was a group of beings, not unlike ourselves, engaged in what looked like a heated argument. The scene was chaotic, filled with gesticulations and what could only be described as alien expletives. "What in the world?" someone muttered, capturing the collective sentiment of the room. Dr. Voss and I exchanged glances, both of us understanding the gravity of the moment. This was first contact, but not in any way we had anticipated. Instead of a message of peace or a technological blueprint, we were watching an alien domestic dispute unfold before our eyes. As the day progressed, we captured more fragments of the broadcast. Each one was as baffling as the last. There were scenes of aliens performing strange, sometimes dangerous stunts, others participating in elaborate games, and yet more of them simply going about their daily lives in what seemed like a perpetual state of drama. Word of our discovery spread quickly. Within days, the media caught wind of it, and soon the whole world was tuning in to see the alien transmissions. The reactions were as varied as the broadcasts themselves. Some people were fascinated, glued to their screens as if it were the latest reality TV sensation. Others were appalled, questioning the morality of watching another species' intimate moments. The scientific community was divided as well. While some saw it as a golden opportunity to learn about an alien culture, others were skeptical, cautioning against jumping to conclusions based on what could be highly curated content. Were we seeing a true reflection of this alien society, or just a small, sensationalized part of it? Despite the controversy, there was no denying the significance of what we had found. These transmissions were a window into a world beyond our own, a glimpse of a society both alien and strangely familiar. And as we continued to decode the broadcasts, one thing became clear. Our understanding of the universe, and our place within it, would never be the same again. The first signal was just the beginning. Little did we know, it would open the floodgates to a torrent of transmissions, each one more intriguing than the last. As we delved deeper into the alien static, we found ourselves drawn into a story that was both bizarre and compelling, challenging our perceptions and redefining the very notion of reality TV. As the initial shock of discovering the alien transmissions began to wear off, the real work started. Our team at Arecibo was expanded, bolstered by experts from around the world eager to help decode the mysterious broadcasts. Linguists, anthropologists, and computer scientists worked around the clock, trying to make sense of the alien language and the cultural nuances behind their version of reality TV. I vividly remember the first time we managed to fully decode a segment. It was a scene of an alien family gathered around a peculiar, flickering device that appeared to be a cross between a holographic projector and a traditional television. They were watching what looked like a competitive game show. The contestants, a group of aliens with varying physical characteristics, were navigating a series of complex challenges involving both physical agility and mental acuity. The host, a charismatic figure with shimmering scales and an unervingly wide smile, narrated the proceedings with a rapid-fire delivery that reminded me of the most over-the-top game show hosts on Earth. As we translated the dialogue, it became clear that the stakes were high for the participants. The winners received not just fame but significant resources and social status, while the losers faced severe penalties, including exile from their communities. As fascinating as it was, it raised more questions than it answered. What kind of society would create such high-stakes entertainment? Was this an indication of a competitive culture? Or were these shows an exaggerated reflection of their reality, much like our own reality TV? Dr. Voss and I spent countless hours debating these questions. We also had to contend with the technical challenges of decoding the broadcasts. The alien language, while bearing some structural similarities to human languages, was unlike anything we had encountered. It was full of idiomatic expressions and cultural references that made it difficult to translate accurately. We relied heavily on context and sometimes pure guesswork. The more we decoded, the clearer the picture became. The aliens, whom we tentatively named the Zephyrians based on a recurring word in the broadcasts, appeared to live on a planet not unlike Earth. They had cities, families, and social structures that were surprisingly similar to our own. But there were also stark differences. Their technology, for example, seemed to be both advanced and archaic, with elements that defied our understanding of physics. One of the most intriguing aspects of the broadcasts was the frequency with which certain themes and characters reappeared. We began to recognize recurring personalities, much like we do with reality TV stars on Earth. There was Odonis, a brash, competitive athlete who dominated the physical challenges, and Zyla, a cunning strategist who excelled in the mental games. Their ongoing rivalry became a central narrative thread, capturing the imagination of viewers both alien and human. As we continued to decode more episodes, we realized that the broadcasts were not live but pre-recorded, likely sent in a continuous loop. This led us to speculate about the purpose of the transmissions. Were the Zephyrians trying to communicate with us? Or were we merely intercepting their entertainment signals by accident? The global response to the broadcasts was mixed. Some people were captivated, treating the Zephyrians' reality shows as must-watch TV. Others were more cautious, concerned about the implications of exposing ourselves to an alien culture without understanding it fully. Religious groups, in particular, had strong reactions, with some viewing the broadcasts as a sign of divine intervention and others as a potential threat to their beliefs. The scientific community was also divided. While many saw the transmissions as a treasure trove of information about an alien civilization, Others were wary of making too many assumptions based on what could be a highly stylized version of reality. The debates were heated, with conferences and panel discussions becoming battlegrounds for competing theories and interpretations. Despite the controversy, there was a general consensus on one thing: the Zephyrians had captured our collective imagination. Their reality shows, with all their drama and spectacle, had become a global phenomenon. And as we continued to decode more episodes, we found ourselves increasingly invested in the lives and stories of these alien beings. The Zephyrians' broadcasts were more than just entertainment. They were a mirror, reflecting back aspects of our own society in ways that were both unsettling and enlightening. Through their eyes, we saw our own obsession with competition, fame, and the pursuit of material success. And in their struggles, triumphs, and failures, we recognized something fundamentally human. As we delved deeper into the alien static, one thing became clear: this was not just a story about first contact. It was a story about ourselves, seen through the lens of another world. And as we watched, we began to question not just what it meant to be human, but what it meant to be part of a larger, more complex universe. The global fascination with the Zephyrians quickly gave rise to a new phenomenon: alien celebrities. Just as reality TV stars on Earth become household names, so too did the most charismatic and memorable Zephyrians. Fans created online forums, social media pages, and even fan clubs dedicated to their favorite alien personalities. Merchandise followed soon after, with everything from t-shirts to action figures featuring the likenesses of Odonis, Xyla, and other prominent figures from the broadcasts. I found this development both amusing and intriguing. It was a testament to the power of media and the human propensity for creating idols. But it also raised deeper questions about the nature of fame and the impact of the Zephyrians' broadcasts on our culture. Odonis, with his larger-than-life persona and athletic prowess, became an instant favorite. His intense rivalry with Xyla, the brilliant and cunning strategist, captivated audiences. Their interactions, filled with tension and drama, were the highlight of many episodes. Fans dissected every move they made, speculating on their motives and cheering them on as if they were real-life heroes. Xyla, on the other hand, attracted a different kind of following. Her intelligence and strategic thinking appealed to those who valued wit and cunning over brute strength. She quickly became a role model for many, especially young women, who saw in her a reflection of their own aspirations and struggles. As the Zephyrians' fame grew, so did the scrutiny of their actions. Just as earthly celebrities are subjected to relentless media coverage, the Zephyrians found themselves under a similar microscope. Every decision, every mistake was analyzed and debated. The ethics of their behavior, the fairness of the games, and the societal implications of their actions became hot topics of discussion. This intense focus on the Zephyrians led to some unexpected consequences. Some fans began to emulate their favorite alien stars, adopting their mannerisms, phrases, and even their fashion. Odonis' chic and Xyla style became buzzwords, influencing trends and sparking debates about cultural appropriation and the impact of media on identity. Meanwhile, the scientific community continued to study the broadcasts, seeking to understand the broader context of the Zephyrian society. Anthropologists and sociologists analyzed the social dynamics at play, comparing them to human societies both past and present. Linguists worked tirelessly to decode the language, providing deeper insights into the culture and values of the Zephyrians. One of the most fascinating aspects of the broadcasts was the way they blurred the line between reality and fiction. Just as reality TV on Earth often stages or exaggerates events for dramatic effect, it became clear that the Zephyrians' shows were not always a literal reflection of their daily lives. The competitive games, the interpersonal conflicts, and the dramatic reveals were all part of a carefully crafted narrative designed to entertain and engage. This realization led to a shift in how we viewed the broadcasts. Instead of seeing them as a direct window into Zephyrian society, we began to appreciate them as a form of storytelling, rich with cultural significance and artistic expression. The Zephyrians, like us, used media to explore themes of identity, conflict, and the human, or in this case, alien condition. As I watched the ongoing saga of Odonis, Xyla, and the other Zephyrian stars, I couldn't help but feel a sense of connection. Despite the vast differences between our species, there was something deeply familiar in their struggles and triumphs. It was a reminder that, at our core, we are all part of the same cosmic story, bound by our shared experiences and the universal desire to understand our place in the universe. The rise of alien celebrities was just one of the many unexpected consequences of the Zephyrians' broadcasts. It was a testament to the power of media to bridge the gap between worlds, to create connections where none existed before. And as we continued to watch, decode, and learn, we found ourselves not just observers, but participants in a grand, interstellar narrative that was still unfolding. The Zephyrians' broadcasts quickly became a global obsession. Every new episode was eagerly anticipated, dissected, and discussed. Viewing parties sprang up in living rooms, bars, and community centers. People who had never shown an interest in science fiction or alien life were suddenly hooked on the latest twists and turns in the lives of Odonis, Xyla, and their compatriots. Television networks and streaming platforms raced to secure the rights to broadcast the decoded episodes, creating a lucrative new market for alien reality TV. Some networks even began producing their own shows analyzing and commenting on the Zephyrian broadcasts, adding another layer of meta-commentary to the already complex phenomenon. I remember the day we first encountered an episode that seemed to blur the lines between reality and scripted drama even further. It featured a scandal involving Odonis, who was accused of cheating in one of the competitions. The fallout was spectacular, with intense confrontations, dramatic confessions, and a series of public trials that captivated viewers. The reaction on Earth was immediate and intense. Social media exploded with debates about Odonis's guilt or innocence. Some fans defended him passionately, arguing that he had been set up by his rivals. Others condemned him, calling for his immediate expulsion from the games. The controversy spilled over into mainstream media, with news outlets covering the story as if it were a major political scandal. The public's obsession with the Zephyrians extended beyond just watching the broadcasts. Fan theories and conspiracies proliferated, with people speculating about the true nature of the broadcasts and the motives of the Zephyrians. Were they trying to manipulate us, to test us, or simply to entertain themselves? The lack of clear answers only fueled the speculation. Merchandise related to the Zephyrians became a booming industry. Action figures, clothing, and even themed food and drinks were marketed to eager fans. Companies cashed in on the craze, producing everything from Zephyrian-themed board games to virtual reality experiences that allowed users to participate in the alien games. The lines between fiction and reality became increasingly blurred as people immersed themselves in the world of the Zephyrians. I found myself both fascinated and troubled by the phenomenon. As a researcher, I was thrilled by the opportunity to study an alien culture in such detail. But I also worried about the ethical implications of our fascination. Were we treating the Zephyrians as subjects of study and entertainment, rather than as fellow sentient beings deserving of respect and understanding? These concerns were shared by many of my colleagues. We held numerous debates and discussions about the morality of our actions. Some argued that the broadcasts were a gift, a unique opportunity to learn about an alien civilization. Others cautioned that we were imposing our own interpretations and biases on the Zephyrians, potentially misunderstanding and misrepresenting their culture. One of the most vocal critics of the public obsession was Dr. Amelia Reyes, a cultural anthropologist who had joined our team shortly after the discovery of the broadcasts. She argued that we needed to approach the Zephyrians with more humility and caution, recognizing the limits of our understanding. "We are looking through a very narrow window," she said during one heated discussion. "We see only what the broadcasts show us, which may be a highly curated and stylized version of their reality. We must be careful not to make sweeping generalizations based on incomplete information." Despite these warnings, the public's fascination with the Zephyrians showed no signs of waning. The broadcasts continued to dominate the cultural landscape, influencing everything from fashion to politics. The Zephyrians had become a global phenomenon, and their impact on Earth was profound and far-reaching. As we continued to decode and analyze the broadcasts, we found ourselves increasingly drawn into the Zephyrians' world. The lines between observer and participant began to blur, raising deeper questions about the nature of reality, entertainment, and our place in the cosmos. The Zephyrians' transmissions had opened a window to another world, but they had also held up a mirror to our own. In our fascination with their dramas, conflicts, and personalities, we saw reflections of our own obsessions, fears, and desires. The alien static had become a part of our lives, challenging us to rethink what it meant to be human in an interconnected, interstellar universe. As the Zephyrian broadcasts continued to captivate Earth, the ethical questions surrounding our obsession grew louder. The excitement and novelty of watching an alien reality show began to be overshadowed by serious concerns about privacy, consent, and exploitation. Were we, in our quest for entertainment and knowledge, crossing ethical boundaries? The first major ethical debate erupted after the broadcast of a particularly invasive episode. It featured a Zephyrian family dealing with a deeply personal tragedy. The raw emotion and vulnerability on display made for gripping television, but it also felt intrusive. Watching their pain and grief, many viewers experienced a profound sense of discomfort. In the scientific community, opinions were divided. Dr. Amelia Reyes became a prominent voice advocating for a more ethical approach. She called for a temporary halt to the public broadcasting of Zephyrian transmissions until we could better understand their context and intent. "We are not just passive observers," she argued during a conference. "Our actions have consequences. We must consider the moral implications of watching and broadcasting these intimate moments without the knowledge or consent of the Zephyrians." Dr. Reyes's stance sparked heated debates. Some researchers agreed with her, emphasizing the need for ethical guidelines and respect for the Zephyrians' privacy. Others, including some of the leading figures in the field of SETI, believed that the broadcasts were a unique opportunity that we could not afford to ignore. They argued that the benefits of learning about an alien culture outweighed the ethical concerns. Public opinion was similarly split. Advocacy groups emerged, calling for greater scrutiny and ethical consideration in the handling of the broadcasts. They organized protests and launched campaigns to raise awareness about the potential harms of our voyeuristic tendencies. I found myself grappling with these issues personally. As someone deeply involved in decoding the broadcasts, I felt a responsibility to consider the ethical dimensions of our work. I remembered the initial thrill of discovery, the excitement of deciphering the alien language, and the fascination with their society. But now, those feelings were tempered by a growing unease. One particularly poignant moment came when we decoded a broadcast featuring a Zephyrian child. The episode showed the child participating in a competitive game, facing intense pressure and stress. As I watched, I couldn't help but think of my own daughter and how I would feel if her most vulnerable moments were broadcast for the world to see. It was a sobering realization. In response to the mounting ethical concerns, our team at Arecibo decided to take a step back and reevaluate our approach. We convened a series of meetings to discuss the ethical implications of our work and to develop guidelines for how we should proceed. One of the key points of discussion was the concept of informed consent. Since we had no way of knowing whether the Zephyrians were aware that their broadcasts were being received by another civilization, we had to consider the possibility that they had not consented to this level of scrutiny. This led us to the conclusion that we needed to be more selective about what we decoded and shared with the public. We also established a review board composed of ethicists, anthropologists, and representatives from various cultural and religious groups to oversee the handling of the broadcasts. Their role was to ensure that we approached the Zephyrian transmissions with the respect and sensitivity they deserved. Despite these efforts, the ethical debate continued to rage. Some argued that our new guidelines were too restrictive, potentially stifling valuable research. Others believed that we were still not doing enough to protect the privacy and dignity of the Zephyrians. As these discussions unfolded, another unexpected development occurred. A group of Zephyrian enthusiasts, using their own advanced technology, managed to send a signal back to the source of the broadcasts. It was a simple message, expressing a desire for dialogue and mutual understanding. This initiative sparked a new wave of excitement and hope. If the Zephyrians received our message and chose to respond, it could open the door to a new era of communication and cooperation between our civilizations. However, it also raised further ethical questions. Were we prepared for the potential consequences of direct contact? How would it affect our understanding of the broadcasts and our relationship with the Zephyrians? As we awaited a response, the world held its breath. The possibility of direct communication with an alien race was both thrilling and daunting. It forced us to confront the ethical complexities of our actions and to consider the broader implications of our desire to connect with others in the universe. The Zephyrian broadcasts had brought us face to face with an alien culture, but they had also forced us to look inward, to examine our own values and the ways in which we interact with the world around us. As we navigated these uncharted waters, one thing was clear. The journey was far from over, and the questions we faced were as vast and complex as the cosmos itself. As the ethical debates continued, another layer of complexity emerged: cultural clashes between Earth and the Zephyrians. The more we decoded the broadcasts, the more we realized how different, and yet, in some ways, similar our civilizations were. These differences sparked discussions about cultural relativism, the potential for misunderstanding, and the impact of cross-cultural exchanges. One of the most striking examples of cultural clash came from an episode featuring a Zephyrian ritual that, to human eyes, seemed both bizarre and unsettling. The ritual involved a series of intricate dances and symbolic gestures, culminating in what appeared to be a form of collective decision-making. To the Zephyrians, it was a sacred tradition with deep cultural significance. To many Earth viewers, it looked like an incomprehensible spectacle. The reactions were swift and varied. Some people were fascinated, eager to learn more about the cultural context behind the ritual. Others were dismissive, viewing it as primitive or even barbaric. These reactions mirrored historical instances of cultural misunderstanding on Earth, highlighting the challenges of interpreting and respecting traditions that are outside our own frame of reference. Dr. Reyes played a crucial role in helping us navigate these cultural clashes. She emphasized the importance of cultural relativism, the idea that we should strive to understand other cultures on their own terms, rather than judging them by our own standards. This perspective was essential in fostering a more respectful and nuanced understanding of the Zephyrians. To facilitate this understanding, we began collaborating with experts in cross-cultural communication. They helped us develop frameworks for interpreting the broadcasts in ways that minimized ethnocentric biases. We also worked to educate the public about the importance of approaching the Zephyrian broadcasts with an open mind and a willingness to learn. One particularly challenging episode involved a Zephyrian justice ceremony. The ceremony was part of a long-standing legal tradition in which disputes were resolved through a series of public trials and communal deliberations. To many Earth viewers, the ceremony seemed harsh and unforgiving. The penalties for certain offenses were severe, and the public nature of the trials struck many as a violation of personal privacy. As we delved deeper into the cultural context of the justice ceremony, we discovered that it was rooted in the Zephyrians' values of transparency, accountability, and communal responsibility. The harsh penalties were not intended as retribution, but as a means of maintaining social harmony and deterring future offenses. This understanding helped to reframe the ceremony in a more sympathetic light, though it did not entirely resolve the ethical concerns. The justice ceremony episode sparked intense debates about the nature of justice and punishment, both on Earth and among the Zephyrians. It also highlighted the potential for cross-cultural exchanges to challenge and expand our own perspectives. By engaging with the Zephyrians' practices, we were forced to reconsider our own assumptions about justice, fairness, and the role of community in addressing wrongdoing. As these cultural clashes unfolded, another fascinating development occurred. Some Earth artists and creators began incorporating elements of Zephyrian culture into their work. Musicians composed pieces inspired by Zephyrian rituals. Visual artists created paintings and sculptures reflecting their impressions of the broadcasts. And writers penned stories and essays exploring the themes and characters they had come to know. This cultural cross-pollination was not without controversy. Critics argued that it risked appropriating and misrepresenting Zephyrian culture. Supporters, however, saw it as a form of homage and a way of building bridges between our civilizations. The debate underscored the complexities of cultural exchange and the need for sensitivity and respect in how we engage with the Zephyrians' world. Despite the challenges and controversies, the cultural exchanges between Earth and the Zephyrians opened up new avenues for understanding and cooperation. They reminded us that, despite our differences, we share a common curiosity and a desire to connect with others. As we continued to navigate these cultural clashes, we learned valuable lessons about empathy, respect, and the richness of diversity. The Zephyrian broadcasts had brought us into contact with a civilization unlike any we had encountered before. They challenged us to look beyond our own cultural frameworks and to engage with the unknown with an open heart and mind. In doing so, they offered a glimpse of the potential for a more interconnected and understanding universe. As our understanding of the Zephyrian broadcasts deepened, we became increasingly curious about the origins and intentions behind the transmissions. Who was sending these signals and why? Were they aware of our existence? Or were we simply eavesdropping on their private entertainment? These questions drove us to investigate further, hoping to uncover the mysteries behind the alien static. Our breakthrough came when we decoded a series of meta-broadcasts, transmissions that appeared to be behind-the-scenes footage and production notes. These meta-broadcasts provided invaluable insights into the workings of the Zephyrian media industry and the individuals responsible for creating the shows that had captivated Earth. The meta-broadcasts revealed a complex and highly organized production process. The Zephyrians had a sophisticated media industry, complete with producers, directors, and a myriad of technical specialists. The shows were meticulously planned and executed, with a level of professionalism that rivaled our own entertainment industry. One of the most surprising discoveries was the extent to which the broadcasts were scripted and staged. Just like our reality TV, the Zephyrian shows blended real events with fictional elements to create compelling narratives. This revelation forced us to reevaluate our understanding of the broadcasts and to consider the possibility that what we were seeing was not a direct reflection of Zephyrian society but a crafted representation. We also uncovered the identities of some key figures in the Zephyrian media industry. One name that frequently appeared in the meta-broadcasts was Kale THRYX, a renowned producer and director. THRYX was responsible for many of the most popular and controversial episodes, including the infamous cheating scandal involving Odonis. As we learned more about THRYX and his team, it became clear that they were aware of the potential for their broadcasts to reach other civilizations. In one meta-broadcast, THRYX was seen discussing the possibility of their signals being intercepted by extraterrestrial audiences. This suggested that the Zephyrians were not only aware of the potential for interstellar communication but were actively considering it in their production decisions. This revelation had profound implications. It meant that the Zephyrians were not just passive subjects of our study but active participants in a potential dialogue with Earth. It also raised ethical questions about their intentions and the nature of their broadcasts. Were they trying to communicate with us, to study us, or simply to entertain themselves with the idea of an alien audience? To gain a deeper understanding of THRYX and his motivations, we analyzed more meta-broadcasts and other related transmissions. We discovered that THRYX was a visionary figure, driven by a desire to push the boundaries of media and to explore the possibilities of cross-cultural communication. In one particularly revealing meta-broadcast, he spoke passionately about the potential for their shows to create connections and foster understanding between different civilizations. Armed with this new understanding, we decided to attempt a more direct form of communication. Using the data we had gathered from the meta-broadcasts, we crafted a carefully worded message addressed to THRYX and his team. Our message expressed our admiration for their work, our desire to learn more about their culture, and our hope for a dialogue between our civilizations. Sending this message was a momentous step. It represented a shift from passive observation to active engagement, from decoding their broadcasts to initiating a conversation. As we awaited a response, we felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The possibilities were both thrilling and daunting. While we waited, we continued to analyze the meta-broadcasts and to share our findings with the public. The revelation that the broadcasts were scripted and staged sparked a new wave of debates and discussions. Some people felt disillusioned, believing that the shows were less real than they had thought. Others saw it as a natural extension of the complexity and creativity of the Zephyrians' culture. The meta-broadcasts also led to a deeper appreciation of the artistry and craftsmanship behind the shows. Fans and critics alike began to analyze the broadcasts with a new level of sophistication, recognizing the skill and ingenuity involved in creating such compelling narratives. As the days turned into weeks and then months, we continued to monitor the skies, hoping for a reply. The anticipation was palpable, and the world watched and waited with bated breath. The prospect of direct communication with the Zephyrians was both exhilarating and intimidating. It represented the next step in our journey of discovery, one that held the promise of deeper understanding and connection. The Zephyrian broadcasts had brought us together, challenging us to think beyond our own world and to consider our place in the universe. They had sparked debates, inspired creativity, and opened our eyes to the richness and diversity of life beyond Earth. And now, as we stood on the brink of direct contact, we felt a sense of awe and wonder at the possibilities that lay ahead. The day we received a reply from the Zephyrians was one that would be etched in history. It started like any other, with our team at Arecibo monitoring the usual transmissions. But then, amidst the familiar static and broadcasts, a new signal emerged, one that was unmistakably a response to our message. The signal was clear and concise, an acknowledgement from Kale THRYX himself. In his message, THRYX expressed surprise and curiosity at our response. He confirmed that they had considered the possibility of their broadcasts being intercepted by other civilizations, but they had not anticipated such a direct and thoughtful reply. THRYX welcomed the opportunity for dialogue and proposed a structured exchange of information and ideas. The world erupted in celebration. News of the reply spread like wildfire, and the sense of excitement and hope was palpable. For the first time, we had established two-way communication with an alien civilization. It was a new beginning, a chance to build bridges across the vast expanse of space. Our first step was to organize a response. We assembled a team of experts from various fields, linguistics, anthropology, diplomacy, and more, to craft a message that would convey our intentions and aspirations. Our goal was to establish a foundation for mutual understanding and respect, recognizing the significance of this historic moment. In our message, we expressed our gratitude for THRYX's response and our admiration for the creativity and complexity of the Zephyrian broadcasts. We also shared information about our own culture, history, and values, highlighting the similarities and differences between our civilizations. We proposed regular exchanges of knowledge and ideas, with the hope of fostering a deeper understanding and cooperation. As we awaited THRYX's next reply, we prepared for the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The establishment of direct communication required careful planning and coordination. We needed to consider the potential impacts on both our societies, the ethical considerations, and the logistics of maintaining a stable and meaningful exchange. One of the first initiatives was to set up a dedicated communication platform that would allow for real-time translation and interpretation of messages. This platform, developed by a team of linguists and computer scientists, was designed to facilitate clear and accurate communication, minimizing the risk of misunderstandings. We also established a joint Earth-Zephyrian Council, composed of representatives from various countries and disciplines, to oversee the communication process and ensure that it remained respectful and productive. This council was tasked with addressing any issues that arose and with making decisions about the content and direction of the exchanges. The first series of exchanges focused on sharing cultural and scientific knowledge. We sent detailed information about our history, achievements, and challenges, while the Zephyrians shared their own stories, discoveries, and perspectives. These exchanges were both enlightening and humbling, revealing the depth and diversity of our respective civilizations. One particularly moving exchange involved a discussion about art and creativity. The Zephyrians shared recordings of their music, performances of their dances, and images of their visual art. In return, we sent examples of our own artistic expressions, from classical music to contemporary dance, from ancient sculptures to modern paintings. The beauty and emotion conveyed through these artistic exchanges transcended the boundaries of language and culture, creating a profound sense of connection. As the exchanges continued, we began to explore more complex and sensitive topics. We discussed our respective approaches to governance, social justice, and environmental stewardship. These conversations were challenging but necessary, pushing us to confront our own shortcomings and to learn from each other's experiences. One of the most significant outcomes of the exchanges was a joint initiative to address a shared concern: climate change. Both our civilizations faced environmental challenges that threatened our futures. By pooling our knowledge and resources, we launched a collaborative effort to develop sustainable solutions and to mitigate the impacts of climate change. This initiative symbolized the potential for cooperation and mutual benefit that lay at the heart of our new relationship. The establishment of direct communication with the Zephyrians marked the beginning of a new chapter in human history. It was a time of discovery, learning, and growth. Through our interactions, we gained a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. We realized that, despite the vast distances that separated us, we were not alone. We were part of a larger, interconnected web of life, bound by our shared experiences and aspirations. The journey was far from over. There were still many questions to explore, challenges to overcome, and opportunities to seize. But as we looked to the future, we did so with a sense of hope and optimism. The Zephyrian broadcasts had opened our eyes to the possibilities of interstellar communication and cooperation. They had reminded us of the power of curiosity, creativity, and empathy. As we embarked on this new beginning, we carried with us the lessons we had learned and the connections we had forged. We knew that the path ahead would not be easy, but we were ready to face it together, as partners and friends in the vast, wondrous expanse of the cosmos.